As the sun set over Manhattan's towering skyline, I sat in my corner office, staring at an unexpected email that would soon turn my world upside down. After 13 years of minimal contact, my mother's name appeared in my inbox. At 35, I had built a successful career as a marketing executive at one of New York's top firms. Life was finally stable, peaceful, and entirely on my terms. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend, Rachel.
Still up for dinner tonight? Tom's watching the kids, so I'm all yours.
I smiled at Rachel's message, grateful for her consistent presence in my life. She had been my rock through countless difficult moments. Wouldn't miss it. The usual place at 7? As I typed my response, my mind wandered back to the email. My mother's words seemed innocent enough. We need to discuss something important as a family. But in my experience, family discussions had never been about my well-being. Nathan, honey, I might be a bit late tonight. I called my husband of 8 years, my voice betraying my unease. Everything okay, Meg? You sound worried. My mother sent an email. They want to meet. After all this time? Do you want me to come with you? Please. You know how they are. I closed my laptop and gathered my things, memories flooding back unbidden. Growing up in the shadow of my older sister Victoria had been like living in permanent eclipse. Victoria was everything my parents had dreamed of: tall, graceful, academically brilliant, and socially perfect. I, on the other hand, was their surprise, unplanned, unwanted, and chronically ill. The security guard smiled as I passed through the lobby. Have a good evening, Mrs. Parker. Another late night? Just heading to dinner with a friend, George, trying to maintain some work-life balance. I stepped out into the cooling evening air, my heels clicking against the pavement as I walked to the restaurant where Rachel waited.
Meg, over here.
Rachel waved from our usual corner table, 2 glasses of wine already poured. You're not going to believe what happened today.
Spill it. You've got that look, the one you had when Victoria showed up at your office 2 years ago.
I pulled out my phone and showed her the email.
After 13 years, what could they possibly want now?
That's what scares me. They never reach out unless they need something. Rachel reached across the table and squeezed my hand. She had been there through everything: the medical emergencies, the therapy sessions, the nights when the weight of my family's rejection felt unbearable. Remember when we met? First day of college, both of us trying to escape our families?
How could I forget? You were the only other person in the dorm crying after their parents left, though for very different reasons.
I smiled at the memory. While other students were homesick, I had been crying tears of relief. I should call my grandparents before meeting them. They always saw through my parents' act.
Good idea. Your grandmother practically adopted me too, after all those holidays I spent at their place.
Back home that evening, I found Nathan in our son's room, reading him a bedtime story. Our 5-year-old Michael was already half asleep, clutching his favorite dinosaur toy. Look who's home, buddy. Want to say goodnight to Mom?
Mommy, did you catch any bad guys at work today?
I laughed at his ongoing belief that my marketing job involved fighting crime. Not today, sweetheart. But I did help make some beautiful advertisements. After tucking Michael in, Nathan and I settled on our living room couch. I called my mom. She says we can drop Michael off with her if we need to meet your parents. I don't deserve your family. Hey, they're your family too. Mom practically adopted you the day we met. That night, as Nathan slept beside me, I lay awake scrolling through old photos on my phone. I paused at one from my high school graduation, my parents beaming proudly at Victoria in her valedictorian robe, while I stood at the edge of the frame, partially cut off. I opened my email and finally replied to my mother. Nathan and I can meet Saturday at 2 p.m. Please let me know where. The response came almost immediately, as if she had been waiting. "Your father and I will host at the house. Victoria will be there too." My heart raced at the mention of our old family home. That house held too many memories, most of them painful. I called my grandmother first thing in the morning. "Grandma, they want to meet. All of them."
Oh, sweetheart. What do you think they want?
"Nothing good. It's never good when they want to discuss as a family."
Whatever it is, remember you're stronger now. You have Nathan, Michael, and all of us who love you for who you are.
That Saturday morning, as Nathan and I drove to my parents' house, memories of my childhood flooded back. Memories I had tried so hard to suppress. I was born 3 months premature, with a congenital heart condition that required multiple surgeries before I was even a year old. The familiar white colonial house came into view, and my hands tightened on the steering wheel. "We can turn around anytime you want." "No, let's get this over with." As we walked up the pathway, I remembered being 8 years old, struggling to breathe after Victoria had chased me around the same yard.
She's just playing, Margaret. You need to toughen up.
My mother's words from that day still echoed in my mind. The door opened before we could ring the bell.
Margaret, darling. And Nathan, how lovely to see you both.
Her smile didn't reach her eyes. It never did when she looked at me. Come in, come in. Victoria's already here." The living room looked exactly as I remembered. Photos of Victoria's achievements covering every wall. Not a single picture of me in sight.
Little sister, it's been so long.
Victoria rose from the couch, perfect as ever in her designer outfit. At 40, she looked like she had just stepped out of a magazine. "Hello, Victoria."
Sit down, everyone. We have something important to discuss.
My mother pulled out a thick envelope from her desk drawer, and my stomach dropped.
Victoria has been trying to have a baby for the past 5 years.
The room suddenly felt smaller, and I could feel my heart beginning to race. The same sensation I'd felt countless times in this house as a child.
The doctors say I can't carry a child. Something about my uterine lining. But we found a solution. You're a perfect match, Margaret.
I felt Nathan's hand tighten around mine as my mother pulled papers from the envelope.
We've already spoken with the fertility clinic. They say with your medical history cleared up, you'd be an ideal surrogate.
Medical history cleared up? What exactly do you mean by that? The words medical history cleared up rang in my ears like an alarm bell. What do you mean, cleared up? My heart condition hasn't gone anywhere.
Oh, don't be dramatic. You haven't had any episodes in years. The specialist we consulted said it wouldn't be an issue.
Which specialist? Because Margaret's cardiologist specifically said another pregnancy could kill her. The room fell silent. I watched my mother's face carefully, seeing that familiar flicker of dismissal I'd known all my life. Now, let's not overreact. We've had the best doctors review everything. What exactly did you show these doctors?
Just your recent medical records. They say you're perfectly healthy.
A chill ran down my spine as I remembered my near-death experience during Michael's birth. Recent records? The ones that show I nearly died giving birth to Michael?
Those old records aren't relevant anymore. People exaggerate these things.
Exaggerate? I was there. Her heart stopped for 2 minutes.
But she survived, didn't she? And now she has a chance to do something meaningful for the family.
The room started spinning slightly, just like it used to during my childhood cardiac episodes. Show me what records you gave them. Margaret, don't be difficult. This is about family. The records, now.
Victoria needs this. After everything we've done for you, you owe us.
Done for her? You mean like the medical bills her grandparents paid? Or the emotional support your family never gave?
You've always been jealous of me. This is your chance to finally do something right.
I stood up, my legs shaking, but my voice steady. What exactly did you show those doctors? What records did you give them?
Just sit down, Margaret. You're making a scene as usual.
Answer her question. What records?
David warned me you might be difficult about this.
David? Your husband knows about this?
Of course he does. He actually had concerns, but I explained how dramatic you can be about your health.
A memory suddenly flashed in my mind. Victoria stealing my medical records from my bedroom when we were teenagers. You didn't. You couldn't have.
Everything we do is for this family's best interests.
I grabbed the envelope from the coffee table before anyone could stop me. Inside were medical records. My medical records. But they were different. The dates were recent, but the information was wrong. All wrong. These are forged documents. You falsified my medical history? You actually forged documents about my heart condition?
We simply updated them to reflect your current health. It's not forgery. It's just making things easier for everyone.
My hands were trembling as I held the papers. You do realize this is illegal, right? You're committing medical fraud. Now you're being ridiculous. This is a family matter. No, this is a criminal matter. You're deliberately concealing life-threatening medical conditions.
Life-threatening? You're always so dramatic, Margaret. Just like when you were little.
My phone was already in my hand, fingers dialing my cardiologist's emergency number.
What are you doing? Stop making this difficult.
I'm calling Dr. Thompson to report medical fraud. Then I'm calling my lawyer. You would actually report your own family? After everything we've done for you? Everything you've done? You mean like telling her she was a burden when she was fighting for her life as a child?
Victoria needs this. She deserves to be a mother.
And Michael deserves to have his mother alive.
You're just being selfish. You always have been.
A wave of clarity washed over me as I looked at my sister's angry face. No, Victoria. Selfish is forging medical documents. Selfish is asking someone to risk their life for you.
If you do this, Margaret, there's no coming back. You'll no longer be part of this family.
I let out a laugh that surprised even me. When was I ever really part of it? We're leaving, and you'll be hearing from our lawyer. As we walked toward the door, Victoria's voice cracked with desperation.
You can't do this to me. I'm your sister.
I turned back one last time. A real sister would never ask me to die for her. In the car, my hands were shaking so badly I couldn't hold my phone. I'll call Linda. She's the best medical fraud attorney in the city. I nodded, still clutching the forged documents. I need to call my grandparents first. They need to know what's happening. My grandmother answered on the first ring.
Margaret, are you all right? How did it go?
They forged my medical records, Grandma. They tried to hide my heart condition to force me to be Victoria's surrogate.
Those monsters. I'm calling your grandfather right now. He still has connections at the medical board.
My phone started buzzing with messages from unknown numbers. Apparently, Victoria had already started her version of damage control.
How dare you threaten legal action against your own family? Mom is crying because of you.
I showed the message to Nathan. Block her number. Block all their numbers. Let the lawyers handle everything. That evening, Rachel rushed over with takeout and a fierce determination to help.
I've documented everything. The timestamps of the messages, the forged papers, everything.
I keep thinking about Michael. What if I had believed them? What if I had agreed?
But you didn't. You stood up to them. You protected yourself and your son.
My phone rang again. This time it was Victoria's husband, David. Margaret, I need you to know. I had no idea they forged those documents. I told Victoria this was wrong. David, are you saying you knew about my heart condition? Victoria told me it wasn't serious. But when I saw how they were pressuring you, I started asking questions. What kind of questions? I spoke to a friend at Mount Sinai. He confirmed your condition is life-threatening. Margaret, I can't be part of this. Why are you telling me this now? Because I just found out they submitted those forged documents to 3 different fertility clinics. I'm an attorney. I know this is criminal. My hand flew to my chest, a familiar tightness building there. David, would you be willing to make a formal statement about this? Yes, and there's more. Victoria. She's been planning this for months. She has copies of all your old medical records. How did she get those? Your mother. She kept everything, then helped Victoria alter them. I found the originals in our home office. The room started spinning slightly. Meg, take your medication. David, we'll have our lawyer contact you. After hanging up, I turned to Nathan. They really thought they could get away with this. They're not getting away with anything. Not this time. The next morning, Linda, our lawyer, arrived at our house with a thick folder of documents.
I've contacted all major fertility clinics in the tri-state area. 3 of them received your forged records.
3? They tried 3 different clinics.
And all 3 have now been notified of the fraud. They're cooperating fully with our investigation.
What are our next steps?
First, we're filing for an emergency restraining order. Second, the clinics are pursuing their own legal action for medical fraud.
My phone buzzed with another message, this time from my cousin Sarah.
The whole family is talking about what happened. Victoria's telling everyone you're lying about your heart condition.
What else is new?
But I remember when you were in the hospital as a kid. I'm telling them the truth.
Just then, an email arrived from David. He had attached scanned copies of my original medical records, the ones Victoria and my mother had used as templates for their forgeries.
This is exactly what we needed. David's cooperation changes everything.
Will there be criminal charges?
Medical fraud is a serious offense. Your parents and Victoria could face significant consequences.
That afternoon, my phone exploded with notifications. Victoria had posted on social media.
I can't believe my own sister would falsely accuse me of fraud when all I wanted was to start a family. Don't respond, Meg. Let the evidence speak for itself.
Then came the email from the first fertility clinic. Mrs. Parker, we are deeply disturbed by this situation. Our ethics board has reviewed the forged documents and compared them with your actual medical history. The doctor's next words made my blood run cold. Had we proceeded based on these falsified records, the pregnancy would have posed an immediate threat to your life. We need to send this to Linda immediately. Just then, David called again. Victoria's having a meltdown. She just confessed everything to me. How they planned this for months, how your mother suggested forging the records. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm filing for divorce. I can't stay married to someone who would endanger their own sister's life. The revelations kept coming. My cousin Sarah forwarded a family group chat.
They're all turning against Victoria and your parents. The truth is finally coming out.
The family group chat messages were flooding in.
I can't believe they would do this. Margaret nearly died giving birth to Michael. I was there at the hospital.
This is criminal. Absolutely criminal. We've enabled Victoria's behavior for too long. My phone rang. It was my grandmother again.
Your grandfather just spoke with the medical board. They're launching a formal investigation.
How are you handling all this, Grandma?
I'm angry, sweetheart. I've watched them hurt you your entire life, but this is unforgivable.
Later that evening, Victoria's social media facade began to crumble. I've made a public statement about the fraud. I couldn't let them continue spreading lies about you. The statement was already being shared widely among family members.
Look at the comments. Your Aunt Patricia is defending you. Even your mother's best friend is horrified.
Then came the message from Victoria's fertility doctor.
Mrs. Parker, I am deeply disturbed by this deception. We have blacklisted your sister and parents from our entire medical network.
Their lies are catching up with them, finally. I never wanted this. I just wanted them to leave me alone. That night, as I tucked Michael into bed, he looked up at me with worried eyes.
Mommy, why was Daddy so angry on the phone today?
Sometimes grown-ups disagree about important things, but you don't need to worry about it.
Like when Tommy at school took my dinosaur without asking?
Sort of like that. Sometimes people do wrong things, and we have to stand up for ourselves. After Michael fell asleep, I found Nathan in our home office, reviewing documents with Linda via video call.
The fertility clinics are pressing charges. This is beyond civil litigation now.
What does that mean exactly?
Medical fraud is a criminal offense. Your parents and Victoria could face serious legal consequences.
I never thought it would come to this. My phone buzzed with a message from David. Victoria's been served with divorce papers. She's staying with your parents now. How are you holding up? Better than I expected. I can't be married to someone who would risk their sister's life for their own desires. A week later, the family dynamics had shifted dramatically. My cousin Sarah organized a family meeting without Victoria or my parents.
We've all been blind to their manipulation for years. What they did to you, Margaret. It opened our eyes.
The support was overwhelming, but part of me still felt hollow. I never wanted to tear the family apart.
You didn't, dear. They did this to themselves.
That evening, an unexpected email arrived from Victoria's fertility clinic. Mrs. Parker, our investigation has revealed that your sister was offered several other options for surrogacy. She specifically insisted on using you, despite being informed of the risks. They weren't just being careless. They deliberately ignored safer alternatives. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, the last remnants of guilt I'd been carrying. The next day, my grandmother arrived with a box of old photographs.
I found these while cleaning out my attic. Look, here you are at your first piano recital.
The photos showed a smiling little girl, before the weight of family expectations crushed her spirit.
Mommy, is that you? You are little like me.
Looking at those old photos with Michael in my lap, I felt something shift inside me. Yes, sweetheart, that was me at your age. And look, there's great-grandma and great-grandpa at my school play.
You were always such a bright, loving child. They just couldn't see it.
The legal proceedings moved swiftly. Linda called with updates.
All 3 fertility clinics have filed formal complaints. The medical board is revoking your parents' medical power of attorney.
And Victoria?
She's facing charges for medical fraud. David's testimony was crucial.
That evening, Rachel came over with a bottle of wine and takeout.
Remember in college when you worried you'd never escape their shadow? Look at you now.
I just wish. I wish they could have loved me for who I am, their loss. Look at all the people who do love you for exactly who you are. Michael ran into the room, clutching a drawing.
Look, Mommy, I drew our family. There's you and Daddy and me and Grandma Jane and Aunt Rachel.
His drawing showed only the people who truly cared about us. Nathan's mother, Rachel, my grandparents. And suddenly, I understood. Family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about love, respect, and protection. I hugged my son tightly, grateful for the family we had chosen and built. The next morning, I wrote one final email to my parents and Victoria. I forgive you, not for you, but for me. I'm letting go of the pain and the guilt. I have a beautiful family who loves me unconditionally, and that's all I need. I clicked send and closed my laptop, walking out to join Nathan and Michael in the garden. Sometimes the family you choose is more precious than the family you're born into. And as I watched my son playing in the sunlight, protected by people who truly loved us. I knew we had finally found our happy ending.